Funding for this program made possible by Cincinnati Northern Kentucky International Airport, Toyota, AT&T of Kentucky, Northern Kentucky Tribune, Gateway Community and Technical College, the Claibs family.
Since the late 70s, Children Inc. has become the largest private nonprofit provider of high-quality child care in Kentucky. And it all began with an extraordinary man named Rick Holdfield, who had a profound commitment to early childhood learning, a brilliant understanding of brain development, and the conviction to put it all into action on behalf of children.
Children Inc. came about with our founder, Rick Hulefeld, and his wife because they saw a need in the community for high-quality child care. Too few children were showing up to kindergarten not ready to learn. And so Rick started Children Inc., and he started it with one program, the Cathedral Center, and then he built off of it after that because really healthy things grow, and he had a philosophy that he wanted to make a larger community impact. So now we have several different child care centers in Northern Kentucky and in Cincinnati. And we also have some school-age programming. So it started with the need of the community that there's so much brain development happening in the early years, and how can we intervene early enough so children will be successful in school and life, which is Children Inc.'s vision. We run high-quality childcare programs, and that's really the best way to implement our curriculum because you get a good dosage. So we've got children in our care from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m., multiple sites. We partner with school districts, which is really one of our favorite models because when you can be in the same school where the child's going to be entering kindergarten, there can be a lot of collaboration between our preschool teachers and actually the kindergarten teachers.
For Holdfield, optimum early child care begins by truly understanding early childhood. Then create an environment and culture where the child will flourish.
Today, when we talk about early childhood, we have to talk about it in 4 different ways. It's an economic issue, it's a moral issue, it's an educational issue, and it's a brain issue. So what has changed now is how people understand what happens. You see, this is a moral issue. No child is born dumb. But when we find a child who struggles, it's because a lot of people let that child down. It's because a lot of people didn't know what they could have done. And so when Children Inc. says things like, all right, we're going to have the highest quality centers so that people who can't necessarily afford to pay for them can afford to pay for them. What we're really saying is every child deserves a chance.
At Children Inc., children thrive in an environment that celebrates learning, that celebrates the child and the family.
When people walk into an early childhood classroom, they may see children playing with things on the floor. They may see a teacher with 1 or 2 children. They don't see learning as they remembered it.
So we have a Montessori training program here, which is the only one in the state of Kentucky. So not only are we taking pride in building children's capacity to be ready for kindergarten, we're actually building teachers' capacity to prepare children. You're also going to see a small group size, because that's high quality, and also a good ratio of teacher to children. So we have, all of our centers are 4-star rated in Kentucky, and that's the highest rating you can get.
Holdfield explains that 90% of a child's brain development occurs before the age of 5, and yet the bulk of our resources and efforts are spent after that time. That's why Children Inc., its mission and its message to all who engage in the life of a child matters so very much.
It wasn't until the early years of 1990 when we finally could start to look at a human brain without hurting the person's brain that we started to learn how different the brain was than we ever thought. We not only know that the brain develops between birth and 5 years of age, and yes, there'll be parts of the brain that will keep on developing. And the cool thing for those of us who happen to be over the age of 5, and I'm one of those people, is that every time we do something new, our brain goes, uh-oh, got to create some more connections. So even when you're 70 and 80 and 90, the key to staying young is doing something different. If you did it with your right hand, do it with your left hand. Just keep giving yourself innovation. Sometimes when we retire, we think about, well, we're just going to do the same thing every day. In the end, what the brain research really says is everyone who works with a child under the age of 5 is important. So if you're a grandparent, a mom, a dad, an aunt, an uncle, a cousin, an older brother, older sister, you all have a role to play in a unique time in the child's life. And although you can't see it, you just think, I'm just reading a Dr. Seuss book and I've read it 5 times and I'm sick of it. What you can't see is what's really happening. But it is happening, and we can see it happen, and it matters a great deal.